guy that put the money down to start it and got John Conway to entertain us.
It's a pleasure. I've been friends with you for a long time. You've been working on a lot of different projects. You and I haven't had a chance to have you on my show anytime recently, or have you even ever been on my show?
I haven't had a chance to be on here.
You have to come on my show. Yeah, you're going to be on my show. But right now we have you here, so let's talk about some of the projects you're working on.
Absolutely.
What are you guys doing here at the expo? You got your camera guy with you, doing some great footage and stuff. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. This is my sponsor. Well, this is my sponsor here at Green Planet Nutrients, and they've flown me down to cover the event. I mean, basically, this is the mecca of Toronto. I mean, I'm from Oshawa. Yeah. You know, I'm an Ontario boy, but I haven't been home in 16 years. So, you know, coming back home here and being able to see all of this, it's like our 420 is like, why aren't we indoors? You know,
really.
This is where...
I'm born and raised here, but I mean, you know, I live on the other side of the country, and to come back and see, you know, this going on, this wasn't going on when I left. Like, none of this happened. Like, you know, the vapor lounges everywhere, and they had the 420 done square and everything. None of that happened when I left this town. You know, I had to go to Vancouver to get that. Yeah, so it's a big change.
Right, and we're also down here, of course, to talk about the Coalition Against Repeal. We're trying to get... Fight the MMPR politically, legally, anyway, in solidarity, you know, at a time when the federal government would like to see a model like a tobacco distribution model. In my own opinion, that seems to be, they moved it in with tobacco decanate. So that's concerning to me. I think 28,000 patients who, you know, currently have the ability to potentially grow if they wanted to, are about to get the axe, in my opinion, for economics.
And it is economics, and it's, you know, but that's not what they're using as an excuse. They're using the excuse of safety. And if they were so concerned of safety, why haven't they ever once in 13 years asked anyone for an electrical inspection? You know, it just boggles the mind that you know, the Health Canada, who will prohibit so many different things at the drop of a hat for safety reasons, would come and say, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, set up a grow up in your house, and with no concern at all, and especially with all the negative press they have about grow-ops and how they cause mold and fires. Well, not one concern from the government over this in 13 years.
I was just going to say, I believe our some of the stats that we're getting on the Freedom of Information Act is quite interesting, because the fire and the mold stats aren't there. And I'm interested to watch Colorado in 1 year.
Fire and mold stats are from illegal grow-ops. Now, I always bristle when someone says you have a legal grow-op. I said, no. The term grow-op was coined by the police and refers to an illegal marijuana growing operation. So what I have is nothing even close. I'm growing herbs in my garden. I could be growing roses and sunflowers, and I could grow kale and garlic and all kinds of other things. So a little bit of cannabis isn't any different.
Totally.
I mean, that's like, there's a greenhouse operation that grows long English cucumbers where I live. We don't call that a grow-up. And then when they busted a greenhouse on the same road, up the road, full of marijuana, that was a grow-up. Now, wait a minute, I don't understand. Greenhouse plants, okay, it was illegal grow-up, but if it was legal, you can't turn around and say, well, that was a legal grow-up. That's an oxymoron, okay? And we should, I'd like to take that to court. I can't stand it. I would like to take the government and say, you can't refer to that as a grow-up ever. And the reason is because it's coming back to me when I try to sell my house, and they want me to say, well, I had a grow up in my house, to disclose that. And I go, well, I can't disclose that because that would imply I did something illegal, and it devalues my home. You know.
It's also interesting to know that a lot of people have I've been finding out down east anyway, that a lot of people seem to think that I'm the plaintiff for the coalition. That's just not the case.
No.
I'm just the guy that put the money down to start it and got John Conway to entertain us, that we would actually be able to raise an army of 4,000. So far, we're trying to make it more. We got 4,000.
We are, right?
4,000 members. Yeah, you're a member. Yeah.
I'm on the email list.
Yeah.
I got your recent coalition video that came out. Sent to me. Very good. Thank you. I had a chance to watch that.
Thank you.
Really good.
Yes.
Good.
No. It's the biggest thing about the coalition is, one, I'm not the plaintiff. Of course, we want the best plaintiff out there, and John Conway will pick that plaintiff. You know, we're simply the ones. We have a committee that is working with this. We have a 4,000 member base, and it's not about just growing. It's about barriers to access. Any barriers to access your medication flies in opposition to previous court rulings.
That's right.
So this is what has become very concerning for us, and we believe that taking away the right to grow and jacking the price up out of the range of what most medicinal patients on a pension can afford. And to us, that's at the core of our case. Social justice. And does Canada want to be Colorado, or do we want to be Washington State? Only we're already at the federal level. We don't need to fight to go up against the FBI and the DEA.
They're reversed of us, really. They're coming from the bottom up. We went from the top down. So we went right to the top federally. It was a federal law. We have a federal exemption. So it's not like, well, I go to Toronto or I go to BC and it changes. However, we do have one thing different on ours, which came out of the court, was in BC, we were allowed to make concentrates and hash and things like, and butter and edibles, and nobody else is in Canada yet because they haven't taken it to court. We had won that at a provincial Supreme Court level. Yeah. So I imagine it would just take somebody in any other province to challenge it, and the same thing would happen. But the fact that we would need to take it to court and challenge it, that the government wouldn't willingly come out and say, yeah, we need to make this program better, and it's been opposition every step of the way. And like I say, I got my exemption within 3 months of this program taking place. I'm an original exemption 56 guy.
Oh, right from the get-go. I've been 10 years.
I've been 13 years in this program. I got my exemption within 3 months of it being released that there was a medical marijuana program in this country. I had an exemption 3 months later.
Sweet. It took me a while to get my doctor to sign, but when I got it. But again, now they're looking at, it scares the hell out of me because there's Bill C-10. So we're looking at, okay, we've been legal for over a decade, and now they want to say, buy it from us at a higher price, take this away, and then kind of reverse everything and say, if you do grow, you're going to potentially face, if there's enough mitigating factors, mandatory
time in jail.
Exactly.
And more than that, now there's the Forfeiture Act, so they'll immediately go after taking my home away from me. There's all criminal activity, regardless that I can prove that I paid for my house with legal money, and where it came from, like I had an inheritance, or if you won a lottery, it wouldn't matter. They'd still take your home. Like your house, you could have it paid off. As a matter of fact, if you do have it paid off, they will take your home because they owe no money. There was a case in British Columbia where they went after a guy's house, and they took it, and then a few months later, the bank went after them for the mortgage because this guy owed like $250,000. Now the government was in the news. They're rethinking their strategy of with a forfeiture.
They seem to be doing a lot of rethinking lately.
Yeah, well, they realize that they go after everybody's house. If you owe a lot of money, they're just inheriting debt, and nobody wants that. So, you know, if you are growing pot illegally, mortgage the shit out of yourself. So, right, if they get stuck with a bill if you go down.
You know, that's some of the craziness, and that's definitely the Coalition Against Repeal, man. Going way back. I mean, we've been online for many years, and been fighting the MMAR. It feels very weird for me to be actually saying, hey, I want to keep part of the MMAR.
We're in the MMAR. Why do we have to think, well, I got to go fight them? They forced me into a program, and then it's like calling me out to a fight, and I got no choice but to go out and defend myself. I don't want to fight. Well, you have to fight me. Well, what the, you know, like, I don't get it. Okay, well, fine, come over here. I'll kick you in the nuts, motherfucker. But, you know.
Yeah, totally. That's what it feels like.
This is what it's been feel like for 13 years. Right from the very first day I got my permit, it was like, all right. And then every couple of months, like, what? I got it. We're at odds about something else, and this is like, so what kind of program is that? Like, I'm fed up. I mean, it's made me a cranky, miserable motherfucker, and when I get, that's why I'm so, I wear fuck Harper on my shirt and things like that. I'm kind of at wit's end. I've had enough. It makes no sense. Well, it makes a lot of sense. It's about money and not about health. It's not about what's right. So it's like, all right, you want to call me out to a fight? Fine, I'll oblige you. Yeah, so we're on the coalition, and we're getting Conroy, and we're doing everything we can.
Well, we've raised the 10,000. Just so you know, we raised 10,000. We've got Mr. Conroy on board, and Mr. Conroy is prepared to go forward. We've served Health Canada a letter on February 28th on the last day of public feedback. And since
Intentions, basically, yeah.
yeah, laid out our intentions, and Mr. Conroy let them know that we will sue them one way or another, even if they reject our injunction. We plan to sue in 2014 once they enact, if that's the date. We don't know. The dates are all subject to change. So
As always, your things do get backed up, changed around on it. It's never
the government.
Oh, good, this day's coming, we'll get an answer. No, I wish, eh?
All right, Opus, I better jump off here. And
Jason,
thank you for having me on the show.
And thank you so much for coming on Pot TV. Really appreciate
And
it.
thank you for being on Cannabis in Canada.
Jeremiah will have you on his show, guaranteed.
Absolutely. Thanks, bro. Peace.
Business is blossoming at a hydroponic shop in BC. Sales have been smoking hot ever since 2 U.S. states legalized marijuana. The company, called Green Planet, carries everything anyone would need to grow plants, any kind of plants, indoors. In Colorado, it is now legal to have 6 marijuana plants in a secure area.